recognize Mr. Alcabading, who is also going to make a opening statement. Please limit it to less than 5 minutes, Mr. Alcabading. You are recognized.
Yes, Mr. Senate President, Vicente Soto and Senator Ping Lacson, Senator Bongo, and the rest of the Senate senators who are here. Good morning. Let me start by saying that majority of the PhilHealth employees are hardworking, honest public servants who had been serving our country tirelessly, especially during this pandemic. Sadly, I cannot say the same for the present leadership, the executive officers of PhilHealth. When I was appointed as board member, I vowed to do my job to the best of my ability. I am an accountant by profession, and it's normal in my life of work to look at numbers. It makes sense of it. This when I discovered that there were numbers in the IT budget and financial reports that does not add up. I tried my best to find solution to the concerns internally by bringing it up with the board and with management. But the most frustrating part is that management seems to be tolerating these fraudulent acts by their inaction against these executive officers of PhilHealth who are obviously compromised. Mr. Morales, we should stick to the issue rather than resort to character assassination, which are the IT and financial concern of PhilHealth. My mandate from the President is clear. Bantayan kung may kawatan diha sa PhilHealth. In Tagalog, bantayan kung may magnanakaw sa PhilHealth. And in English, make sure that there is no thieves in PhilHealth. I will continue to make sure that I serve my mandate. I am here today to testify, not to condemn anyone, but to help fix the PhilHealth Insurance Corporation. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the other members of the board, General Marlene Padua, Dr. Grace Gonzara, Sharon Almanza, representing Secretary Sunny Duque, Dominguez of Finance Department, Attorney Ryan Lita, representing Secretary Wendell Abisado, Attorney Benavides, representing Secretary Belly of Dole, and especially Dr. Susan Pineda Mercado, which I drew strength from her, who is also passionate about improving the services of PhilHealth. Sad though she resigned effective June 30. Lastly, I would like to thank all employees of PhilHealth who helped me understand the operation of PhilHealth, including the corruption issues within. I was appointed as Director Finance Expert Panel of the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation July 2019. As a member of the board, I have come across information regarding discrepancies in the information technology, IT sector, and the finance sector of the corporation. On or about December 15, 2019, the IT sector submitted its original budget request for approval by the Board of Directors in the amount of 2.1 billion. The proposal, however, had no specific details, so the board rejected it. The board directed the IT sector headed by Senior Vice President Jovita Aragona with her senior manager Alex Gabuya to submit description for the items listed in the budget request. However, they keep on submitting vague and scrambled data in an attempt to confuse the board. During the risk committee meeting on about January 8, I questioned some of the items in the proposed budget. This made the IT sector lower the proposed budget to 1.9 billion, allegedly due to typographical error. On February 15, I moved to approve only 25 million for the IT budget since I was told by Renato Limsiaco Jr. that this is the item needed to sustain the expired subscription the following month. On March 12, 2020, the board was asked by Jovita Aragona to approve more than 302 million IT supplemental budget. And her reason, otherwise the entire PhilHealth system will collapse. The board had no choice but to approve the same. On April 23, during a board meeting, PCEO Ricardo Morales supported its proposal presented by Ms. Aragona of 750 million budget. And this is for IT again. Since I could not in good conscience approve another 100 million peso amount after approving 328 million very amount earlier, I told the board that we have to wait for the internal audit report on the inventory of software and hardware, which was one of the directives of the audit committee. Sometime in May 2020, the internal audit results were submitted by the audit committee. I instructed the corporate secretary, Attorney Jonathan Mangawang, to include this as one of the agenda for the board meeting on May 9, 2020. 3 members of the board, Dr. Graciela Gonzaga, General Marlene Padua, and myself, agreed to have the internal audit report reported directly to the board with the permission of Audit Committee Chair Sharon Almanza, representing Department of Finance. However, even if it was included in the May 9, 2020 board agenda, PCO Ricardo Molares, who was presiding, that said that it should be first be presented to the Audit Committee on May 23, 2020. Dr. Mercado argued that many of the items in the agenda were not as important as that of the proposed IT budget, which was the second agenda in the item in the agenda, but to no avail. The IT proposal for the approval of 260 million was presented, and Ms. Aragona's argument in support of the proposal was that the items in the budget were not included in the internal audit report. It was only during this meeting, after much questioning, that the board was informed by Jovita Aragona that there was already an approved information system plan, ISSP, by the Department of Information, Communication and Technology, DICT. The internal audit report contained the discovery of major discrepancies in the sector's representation. There were items in the submitted budget that were not included in the ISSP approved by the DICT. As indicated in the report, the ICT resources included in the 2020 budget proposal but does not appear in the ISSP have a total amount of 734 million. The report indicated that there is an overprice worth 98,050,000 and that there was really an intent to confuse and deceive by splitting one item into two. Splitting item into two items by listing different specification. This is in the amount of 132.2 million. This big description specification will allow the same item to be brought again the following year. This was my first observation among others, which resulted to the lowering of the proposed IT budget to 1,556,000,000. The most anomalous proposal, based on my understanding of the internal audit report, are the following. This is the overpriced and finding. Item, Adobe Master software collection. In the 2020 budget, the proposal 21 million. Ang bibilhin dito, tatlong item lang, 168 times 3, 504. Therefore, you could make a mathematics that this is more than 20 million overpriced. Application server license, 40 million. Sa approved ISP, 25 million only. Structured cabling, dinagdagan po ng 10, makes it 5 million. Identity management software, 42 million. Sa approved ng ISP, 20 million lang. Office productivity software, 20 million. Approved ng ISP, 5 million only. Application server virtualization license and support, 25 million sa proposed 2020 budget, 14.8 million lang na approved ng DICT. Included in the 2020 proposed IT budget but not included and approved in the ISSP. Cloud analytic tool, 132 million. Portable Wi-Fi, hotspot, satellite phones, 840,000. Queuing machine, 302,000. 43 units of ICT resources, not itemized, 40,717,500. Another anomalous proposal, laptop indicated or laptops, no indicated number of units, twice 4.1 million, and 115 million. 3 projects not specified, totaling 90,075,000. The board was not informed by the corporate secretary, Attorney Jonathan Mangawang, about COA audit observation memoranda, which are not presented during board meeting. If he is not instructed to do so, like the audit findings of the 20 financial statement in the audit query memorandum 2020-003 EXO dated January 31, 2020, involving short deliveries. The audit report from COA is actually addressed to the board. The internal audit report is analogous to the COA audit observation memorandum that asked PhilHealth to explain the purchase of total of 29.6 million hardware and software due to vague terms and reference and ghost deliveries. The corporation financial statement has also been manipulated by Renet Linciaco, Senior Vice President for Financial Management Sector, and his staff have been overstating the income of PhilHealth by reducing the amount of benefit claim. The 2020-19 income was overstated by 14.3 billion. Ito po ginawa natin ahead of COA. Pareho po ang lumabas na observation natin ng COA report. The Commission on Audit COA has also issued a disclaimer against 2028 financial statement due to questionable reduction of benefit expense, since there was no basis for the adjustment. The chart below shows my analysis and discrepancies in the financial statement. Let me just go back to the 2019. Ang totoo pong debt to equity ratio natin is 116 to 1. Alright, itong projected June 2020, ang reported June 2030 sa board na debt to equity ratio is 147 is to 1. Pero ang ginawa kong projection, 160 to 100, 160 to 1. Ang ibig sabihin, ang utang natin 160, ang available na lang na pera is 100. Pero hindi pa kasama dito yung COVID na binayad na 114 billion. If you will look at it, ang totoong debt to equity ratio as of June 30, 2020 is 170 is to 1. Including the 14, this is including the 14 billion advance binayad na hindi pa chinyards ni Renet Linciaco sa income statement. The most frustrating part of my work in PhilHealth is that management seems to be tolerating these fraudulent acts by their inaction against these executive officers of PhilHealth. There are good people in PhilHealth who try to warn the board and the president and CEO of these discrepancies. Among them are the head executive assistant, Lieutenant Colonel Val Laborte, and Attorney Thorson Kitt, who had been vigilant and tried to prevent the approval of some of questionable transactions. In vain, they have since resigned. The vigilance of the board has earned the ear of PCO Morales, who wrote the board defending his officers whom he felt were humiliated by the board. This led to an exchange of letters between PCO Morales and some members of the board, especially myself. In this letter, I mentioned that instead of questioning the board, he should be thankful that we are vigilant. I also question why he has repeatedly endorsing the IT proposal without waiting for the internal audit report. PCO Morales said that the most important element in organization are its people, but has not prioritized the concern that will benefit the rank and file of the file personnel of PhilHealth. An example of this was the welfare support assistant, WESA, the grant of which was delayed by management by asking for the opinion of Governance Commission for GCG. Even if, according to the board member, Dr. Grace Gonzaga, there was already a Supreme Court ruling in favor of it. This was the first in the series of letter exchange between PCO Morales and myself. Sometime during the June 2020 regular board meeting, after the presentation of the internal audit report, the board ordered an investigation in the IT procurement and created an investigating committee for it composed of Dennis Adre, Lieutenant Colonel Laborte, Head Executive Assistant, Attorney Labi, Corporate Legal Counsel. PCO Morales did not comply with the board directive for almost 3 weeks And during the next board meeting, Mr. Adre was eliminated from the investigation committee because of his pending administrative case. Instead, Morales suggested that the board choose from the following newly appointed officers a new head of the investigation team, Dr. Lico, Attorney Pante, Miss Wellen Peña, Attorney Pulintan, all of which, except Attorney Pulintan, have been implicated in the criminal cases filed by the NBI for the well-made scam and Secretary Rookie in the Ombudsman for the perpetual soccer case. This was so disgusting and obvious that even the confidential employees of PCO Morales, his head executive assistant Lieutenant Colonel
Thank you, Mr. Gabaldon.